My wife betrayed me by cheating. Now her life is falling apart due to karma, and I have no sympathy for her. Lately, I've been plagued by suspicions that my wife might be unfaithful, but I'm at a loss at how to proceed. Without any solid proof, I hesitate to confront her, fearing that it might either be unfounded or lead her to cover her tracks more effectively. My instincts are stirred by subtle changes. About 4 months ago, she began hitting the gym more frequently and has shown a newfound interest in her looks. Though she has always been beautiful, she rarely wore makeup or styled her hair. Now she guards her phone like a secret treasure, which raises red flags for me. We used to share our devices without a second thought, but now it seems glued to her side. When I asked to borrow it for a quick photo, she insisted I use my own phone. Additionally, she's been clocking in longer hours at work and has taken several out-of-town business trips lately. In the past months, she hasn't initiated any intimacy, offering only fleeting kisses. When I've tried to be intimate, she either turned me down or seemed distant, leaving me feeling worse than if she had outright rejected me. I mentioned our dwindling intimacy before, and she attributed it to her exhaustion, motherhood, work, and her fitness routine. She assured me she would make an effort to improve things, and we shared a kiss that night. But nothing has changed since. I can't help but wonder if she's experiencing some sort of midlife crisis. There's a colleague of hers who has raised my suspicions. She used to mention him frequently, but the chatter has dwindled over the last few months, even though they still collaborate closely. He's married with children and has hinted at issues in his own marriage. I've met him a couple of times, and he seemed to disregard my presence entirely. He may not be as in great shape as I am, but he certainly knows how to dress, has a vibrant personality, and enjoys a drink or two, something my wife wishes I would embrace more. I completed high school while he holds a master's degree and earns a considerably higher salary than I do. I make a living training fighters, which I am passionate about, but the pay is not substantial. My wife thinks I could find a more lucrative career. While she doesn't obsess over finances, I can appreciate her wish for stability. Recently, my wife went on a work trip to a tropical resort with this colleague and the CEO. I can't help but worry about how much time she spent with him. I want to address my concerns, but fear that accusing her without proof could create unnecessary tension. Overall, our marriage has been solid, though we faced our share of challenges. A friend suggested I start gathering evidence quietly, but the idea of invading her privacy makes me uneasy. If she were to betray my trust, I can't envision staying in a relationship with her. I'm heavily invested in my children's lives, and the thought of seeing them part-time is devastating. I would appreciate any guidance on how to navigate this situation. Update 1. I checked our cell phone account and found numerous late-night texts to a particular number. I intend to discover who that number belongs to. After uncovering this, I felt a wave of emotions wash over me. Last night, I attempted to connect with her intimately, but she turned me down, claiming she was tired and had a headache. We talked about our relationship, and she assured me she would work on it, as she has done before. This morning, she mentioned a possible girls' trip to Vegas with college friends I've never met. I'm beginning to notice a troubling pattern here, but I still have my doubts. I finally decided to do some digging and examined the detailed cell phone records. I find that there are numerous texts sent to one number during the late hours, totaling in the hundreds. I called that number from a payphone, and it connected to one of her co-workers, the very same person I suspected could be a problem. While she was in the shower, I seized the opportunity to sneak a peek at her phone and discovered that the only text conversation missing was with a certain number. To my shock, that number was saved under a woman's name in her contacts. This revelation has left me deeply unsettled, especially considering the recent trip she took out of town with this guy. I felt the need to step outside for a breather. After gathering my thoughts, I returned home, but I'm at a loss about my next move. If I bring this up with her, she'll likely have a ready excuse. Now, I'm torn between quietly collecting more evidence or confronting her right away. My anger is boiling over. I'm furious with her, yet I also have an overwhelming urge to confront the guy involved. It's going to take all my restraint not to do something rash. I fear she might confess to some flirty behavior, but without solid proof, I worry she won't come clean about everything. I'm seeking advice on the best timing for a confrontation. I plan to stay alert during her usual text hours, ready to interrupt and ask who she's messaging, hoping to catch her in a lie. Update 2. Last night, after everyone had turned in, I pretended to be asleep, waiting to see if she would sneak out to use her phone. Sure enough, just after midnight, she quietly got up and slipped into another room, shutting the door behind her. I waited a few moments, then burst in, claiming I couldn't sleep and asking what she was up to. I caught her mid-text, and before she could react, I was right there, too quick for her to delete anything. I noticed her trying to conceal her phone, and she claimed she was just texting a friend because she couldn't sleep either. I had a strategy in mind, and I immediately set it in motion. I moved closer, kissed her, and asked if she wanted to get intimate. As expected, she turned me down. I couldn't help but laugh and started playfully tickling her, teasing that she seemed more interested in her friend than in me. Then, I playfully wrestled with her to get a look at her phone, and I could see the panic flickering in her eyes. She reached for it, but I pulled it away, laughing and feigning enjoyment. I joked about calling her friend to see if she was interested in my wife, prompting my wife to plead, "Please don't call her." As I walked away, I scrolled through the messages and spotted one that said, "Can't wait to see you tomorrow." I hit the call button, and after what felt like an eternity, a guy picked up. Caught off guard, I simply hung up. I then began to read the text aloud to my wife, questioning why she was messaging a guy late at night. She claimed she didn't know. I pressed her for any revelations. Silence hung in the air. I finally told her I had seen the phone records and I was aware of her late night exchanges with the guy. Tears streamed down her face as she apologized. I stayed composed, explaining that the next few moments were critical. If she didn't come clean, there would be serious consequences. She confessed to flirting with a coworker who was going through marital issues, admitting it had escalated. She insisted nothing physical had occurred. My concern was that she would only acknowledge what I already knew. I warned her that if she couldn't be entirely truthful, she needed to pack her things and leave. With tears and apologies, she agreed that it had gotten physical before heading to her mother's place. She asked if I was going to leave her. I told her we would talk about it later since it was late. She left and I haven't seen her since. She's been trying to reach me, but I turned off my phone. My plan is to find a marriage counselor and schedule an appointment, pretending to want to reconcile until I can use the sessions to facilitate our separation. I recorded everything from last night as a safeguard against any potential false accusations. I reached out to a friend for clarity, and he assured me that recording conversations in our state is permissible. While I trust she wouldn't fabricate accusations, I feel the need to tread carefully, especially considering my past as a fighter and a trainer. Any claims of abuse against me, given my stature and history, could have catastrophic consequences, particularly concerning custody of my children. As a precaution, I intend to document all our exchanges. My heart is shattered, my family is disintegrating, and the mere thought of being an absent father to my children is unbearable. Even though I had my suspicions, the reality still hits me like a ton of bricks. The hardest part is realizing this is only the beginning. I want to confront the other man, but I must keep my emotions in check. In one of his messages, he referred to me as the animal. I can sense his fear of me. Despite lacking a college degree or a high-paying job, I take pride in my intellectual curiosity and extensive reading. I may not be the brightest, but I certainly possess intelligence. I will keep you posted as things unfold. Right now, I'm uncertain about what advice would be beneficial. Update 3. I truly appreciate all the support I've received during this tough time. I'm facing a lot and I wish I could respond to every piece of advice and encouragement that has come my way. To update you, my attorney friend suggested a family law specialist. Interestingly, this lawyer has also experienced infidelity, and my friend mentioned that these cases allow him to seek revenge, is willing to be flexible with his fees, and genuinely wants to assist. Perhaps this is a silver lining. On another note, my wife has confessed to the affair. She initially claimed it began as a harmless flirting, evolving into an emotional connection, but insisted it never became physical. I saw through her facade, and eventually, she admitted it did escalate physically, coinciding with the same time she withdrew from our intimacy. I received more information than I ever anticipated. It was an affair filled with intense emotions. To say this has profoundly impacted me would be a gross understatement. I find myself grappling with a whirlwind of feelings, struggling to hold into a single coherent thought. I suggested to my wife that it might be best for her to stay with her mother for now, while I manage the kids and provide them with a sense of stability at home. My lawyer is working diligently on our case, and he believes that my presence in the house gives me a significant advantage. I haven't yet revealed to her that our marriage has reached its end. She will learn the truth when the divorce papers are served, which will happen soon. My mind is plagued with intrusive thoughts of her and the men involved. As a coach for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, I dedicated my time to professional and semi-professional fighters, pouring my energy into them. The physical demands of my job have been a welcome distraction. Naturally, my children are also my primary focus. Beyond Jiu-Jitsu, I have a passion for exploring new subjects. I usually spend a few hours each night reading to relax, but recently even a single paragraph feels impossible to digest. After discovering that they referred to me as a foolish beast, I can only imagine the other hurtful things they might have said. This situation has taken a toll on me. I've always been a cheerful person, but now that joy feels like a distant memory. On a different note, since news of our situation has spread, many have reached out, offering their support. It's reassuring to know I have people in my corner. Several of my friends' wives have even stepped up, mentioning they know lovely women who might be interested in my upcoming single life. I won't be dating until everything settles down, and likely not for some time after that. Still, the knowledge that there are possibilities out there brings me some comfort. I believe I will be alright. For now, my focus is entirely on the kids. I'll try to provide an update soon. My wife is heartbroken and is fighting to keep the marriage intact. I realize that I can't move past her betrayal, and staying together would only prolong the inevitable. Life has been a whirlwind lately, but I felt compelled to log back into this throwaway account to share an update on my situation. I initiated divorce proceedings, and it should be finalized next month. We will share custody of the kids equally, and she will be responsible for spousal support since her earnings far exceed mine. That's where things stand legally. Now, on to the emotional aftermath. My heart is shattered, and my children are hurting too. I never imagined I would find myself as a single father, yet here I am. My wife appears to be descending into a deep depression. The man she cheated with has decided she's not worth the hassle. From what I hear, she's turned to drinking and is spending time with various men she meets online. There have been numerous occasions when she called me, pleading for a second chance, wanting to reclaim her former life. A part of me yearns for that too, but I've managed to stay resolute. After she learned the amount she would owe me monthly, her anger fled and my kids are left confused. Every moment they aren't with me feels unbearable. Loneliness envelops me constantly. I haven't connected much with friends and mostly find myself at home. The barista at my favorite coffee shop even asked if I was okay because I seemed down. Apparently, I'm not concealing my feelings as well as I thought. There are acquaintances eager to introduce me to women they know, but I'm hesitant. I feel like I'm labeled as the guy whose wife was unfaithful. It's been so long since I've dated that I'm at a loss. I've had a few fighters achieve great success on a public platform, and that's been the only flicker of excitement I've felt in ages. I truly don't know what my next steps will be. At some point, I need to break free from this cycle and move forward. However, I haven't found that spark of motivation yet. I did have someone reach out to the other man's wife and share the evidence I had gathered. I couldn't bear the thought of him facing no consequences. Since I can't confront him directly, this felt like the best option. Initially, she was skeptical, but soon I learned that their marriage was facing significant troubles. As far as I know, they are still together, but their relationship is shaky. I'm filled with a lot of anger about everything that has transpired. It's wild to think that amidst all this turmoil, I met a girl through mutual friends who has caught my interest. I haven't mustered the courage to ask her out yet. She is incredibly beautiful, but there's a notable age difference. She's about 14 years younger than me. I wonder if that would be a deal breaker, but it certainly feels like a considerable age gap. Given my recent experiences, my self-esteem has taken a hit. I can't shake the feeling that she might be out of my league. Perhaps she is. Still, she occupies my thoughts quite a bit. This sums up the last 6 months of my life. I must admit, it has been the most challenging period I've ever faced. I've always been a cheerful person, but now I find myself enveloped in darkness and despair. I do experience moments of sadness and loss, but they are brief. Overall, I feel pretty good. My kids are thriving and spend a lot of time with me. Post-divorce, my wife had to take on additional work responsibilities to support her new single lifestyle. She also pays me spousal support as she earns significantly more than I do. When the pandemic struck, I had a flexible schedule, allowing me to keep the kids with me and manage their homeschooling. My job, which requires me to do physical interactions with others, has been significantly impacted by the pandemic, leading to fewer opportunities for my team. In a sense, I've found myself at the role of a stay-at-home dad, taking some much-needed time for myself after everything that happened. The younger woman I had my eye on took a lengthy assignment in Europe with her company. We kept our connection alive through technology. Once her assignment wrapped up, she returned, and we've been inseparable ever since. She has a deep love for both me and my children. Her compassion and thoughtfulness are truly remarkable. Before we met, I heard whispers about an incredible woman who resembled Wonder Woman and was known for her kindness. I was skeptical, thinking it sounded too good to be true, but she genuinely embodies that description. I sense that our relationship is on the brink of taking the next step. Meanwhile, my ex hasn't fared well. She has turned to drinking and casual encounters with strangers she meets online. The burden of managing more responsibilities has weighed heavily on her. In just a few years, she seems to have aged over a decade and a half. She was always beautiful, but the last time I saw her, she appeared worn out, as if her vitality had been drained. It's a strange observation, but that's the impression I got. Her closest friend confided that she is very unhappy and difficult to be around. I find it hard to comprehend how someone who once seemed so happy and in control could descend into such a dark place. Her friend also mentioned that she never expected me to leave her after their affair. I think she believed her financial success gave her power over me, so the fallout from the affair caught her off guard. For the sake of my children, I genuinely hope she finds some peace. Aside from the challenges posed by the pandemic, life is wonderful. I'm grateful I made the decision to end my first marriage promptly instead of prolonging the inevitable. I recognized it was a tough choice, but ultimately it was the right one. Since then, I've been steadily moving forward, content to make small strides each day, knowing that eventually I will reach my goal. The secret lies in committing to one action each day that enhances your abilities or broadens your skill set. Focus on tangible skills rather than self-help concepts. I ventured into creating short films featuring the athletes I coach, diving into the world of videography and editing, which has turned out into an enjoyable pastime. Additionally, I've been devouring books to expand my knowledge on various subjects. Every day, I aim to accomplish something, no matter how minor. These little efforts accumulate over time. The key is to stay dedicated and allow yourself the grace of patience. You've made it this far, why not leave a like and a subscribe? See you in the next one.